Howdy, Pilgrim. It's about time we had a deep and meaningful conversation about how I have been 75 days clean. I have not smoked cannabis, marijuana, whatever you want to call it, right? The devil's lettuce. I haven't smoked now in 75 days. And I don't know if today or tomorrow is the beginning of spring because on the calendar it said today, but everyone else is saying it's tomorrow at 10:45. So either way, I felt this was a very momentous occasion to communicate that I have not smoked weed in 75 days. I believe it's been 160 days approximately since I have last consumed alcohol, which was the 12th of October in 2025. So it has been quite some time. And I felt this was just a very important time for me to do this. Really wanted to put myself out there. I get stuck in my head so easily. I'm a very introverted person by nature. And additionally, on top of this, people interrupt me all the time, right? Whether this is family members, whether this is friends, whether this is clients of mine, whether this is coworkers of mine, whether this is people that I've hired as freelancers. It just seems like everyone in my life always interrupts me for whatever reason and never gives me the chance to speak my mind. And even when I pause, they interrupt me. So I feel that this will be something new that I bring to this channel, really to just communicate openly and be a little bit more vulnerable with the things that I want to say. And really, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this as well is just I've had a lot of pressure and stress on me for the last couple of months. I would say the last 3, 4 months, it's been very intense on my end, right? While working a full time job, while also running a business on the side, while taking care of my mom full time with all of her health issues, it's been a lot. So it was something where I just decided, you know what, I'm going to record this and really get all of this stuff off of my chest. Last week for me was one of the most stressful weeks that I've ever had in my entire life. But it actually started, I would say, in December when I first started to work on upgrading my studio, when I realized that, hey, I'm going to really work on producing better quality content. So I started with ordering a neon sign. I started with converting my office into a studio, and there was a lot of little things that I've done. And when you do so, you have to learn a lot of micro skills as well. I got a new Mac Mini. I got a new camera, which I said I'd never do again after this issues with my Canon 70D. That's always caused me pain because I spent so much on it and all these lenses and all these batteries, and it never produced the type of content that I wanted, right? It was never able to give me what I wanted. I was never able to learn color correction, and then the camera died just over 13 months of working on it or owning it, and Canon wouldn't give me any sort of, what jerks, they wouldn't help me out in terms of the warranty and they wouldn't fix it. So whatever, here I am now using Sony cameras and using iPhones to record my content. And so I upgraded that. I got a Mac Mini. I also got a brand new microphone, this Shure microphone, which is, the sound is incredible. I also last year in August got these DJI micro microphones, which I'm using right now, and then also this gimbal, which works very well, that I've been producing other content for in the business. And so that was one thing that just compounded as well. And on top of this, I've had monthly webinars I've had to do for the business as well while upgrading the studio, and just little things. People don't realize that when you produce content, it's a lot, right? Especially when you're doing it by yourself, right? When you look at TV shows, there are huge teams doing these things. There's someone doing lights, there's someone doing art department stuff, there's someone doing makeup, there's someone behind the camera, and then you have the talent on screen. With me, I've been doing everything. So whenever I see content creators burn out very quickly, I can totally understand why they've actually burnt out really quickly. And so while doing all of this stuff, I realized I'm like, look, like I'm just gonna quit smoking weed at the end of December, right? And this has been a gradual thing over the years, right? A couple of years ago, I had the most amount I've ever had. There was a point when I had, I think, 20 jars of different kinds full to the brim, because now you can get weed so inexpensively on the black market in Canada. It's insane. You can get ounces for like 20, 30, 40 bucks of very good weed, and you spend more and you'll get higher quality. But there was a point I remember at late 2023 when I had an insane amount of this stuff. Like an absolutely insane amount of stuff. And then I ended up at the end of that year just being like, look, I'm just going to pass it off to one of my friends, give him an insane deal, and then quit then. And then unfortunately, I dated this woman in April and May and June of 2024, and she made me relapse. I think at that point I'd quit 2 or 3 months, and then she was someone who struggled with alcohol, even though she wouldn't admit it. And yeah, basically she had some weed, and I smoked with her, and it brought me back after I'd quit for a few months at that point. And then, yeah, last year I just decided at the end of the year, like, you know what, I'm going to quit, right? So the last time I smoked was this year on January 3rd after I watched Avatar 3 in theaters. And yeah, Fire and Ash, I believe it's called. Fire and Ash and Lava Ground is what it should be called. But watched that with my friends, and then had one massive doob that I'd rolled as the last thing. Took some hits that night. I'm like, maybe I'll smoke it the next day. And the next day I just woke up and basically ground it into the toilet, flushed it, and I was like, that's it, right? I'm quitting and I'm done. So that was the last time I smoked. And it's been 75 days since that happened at this point, okay? And on top of all those other things, I've had to, like I said, do webinars once a month, which is a lot. Coming up with a webinar deck is a lot. You need to come up with the idea, create the Zoom link. You need to communicate with people, all the people. You need to email them, which someone else on the team does that. But you need to come up with all the content. You need to practice it a few times, be comfortable, and then you have to pitch the offer at the end, right? So that's been a lot. That has been a lot of work as it is. And then on top of all this, in the last 4 months, we've redid our low ticket offer course, which is a lot. It's only $47, but the amount of work we put into that, our blood, sweat, and tears into that has been insane. Coming up with the content, recording it on the new camera equipment. Even while I was away with my mom, I was recording then and coming up with stuff and doing other tasks and recording. And then doing our high ticket one. And then these other guys asked me to do this other bonus one for them. It was only 4 modules, but I had to come up with all the content, record it, and put it out there. So it's been a lot, trust me. So that's been what I've been doing as well. And then on top of this, I've started doing a new Instagram account and a new YouTube channel, right? This YouTube channel been very hard to grow. At some point I was planning on monetizing this and really making this a full outdoor channel, but I figure with this one I can also make it outdoor, but also, yeah, more of a personal brand channel, I think, because it does have my name on it. So I think that would really be helpful as well. And then I'll have my other AI channel that I've started as well. So that's been my workload. And then on top of this, I've had my side business, which last month I would say we did good. We didn't do great, but we haven't had a great month now in a very long time. Whereas when I was doing this a while back, I have had a few months where it's been doing well. Sure, I've had other partners that I've partnered with where it's done well, and sure, that's helped me make some money, but nothing too crazy personally, right? The other people I've partnered with, they've had some insane months. January, one of them, I can't even talk about the numbers, but it was absolutely insane, right? So yeah, this dude, Teddy, that I partnered with, blew it out of the water, and then it hasn't done as well since then, but yeah, we'll see how it does well. We'll see how it does this month. But really, that's what I've been doing in terms of work, and I do have my sticky notes as well, just to make sure that I stay. But really, last week in terms of the stress. So first of all, this has been the longest, snowiest winter I ever remember in Toronto in my entire life. I do not remember or recall there ever being a winter where it started getting cold this quickly, where it snowed this much. That day where we had 60 centimeters of snow, just really 2 months after that, where it was just, you couldn't go anywhere, basically. And it took forever for the city to clear all the snow off of our street. So that brought a lot more stress. And yeah, just another thing that you have to see every single day where you're looking at, just being like, oh man, will this winter ever end? So that's been one thing. And then I believe it was about 6 weeks ago that I hurt my right shoulder. So I injured this. I got into working out again. And then after 3 weeks, just my AC joint really started to feel inflamed and it was hard to move. And anytime I picked anything up from behind me or just did anything behind me or put it too high, it started to hurt a lot. At this point, it has healed and I would say it's a lot better. It's like a 1, maybe a 2 out of 10, whereas back then it was probably like a 4 or 5 some days in terms of the pain scale. But that was another thing too, where every single day just feeling that pain, it just gets to you, right? Especially when I'm scrolling my mouse and I'm trying to fix things and redo the studio, like just, yeah, the little minor pains really does grind my gears and boil my blood in some cases as well. And then on top of this, my mother, I believe it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, she had a fall. And so she was going to visit one of her friends. She fell straight on her face and they called the ambulance, and she calls me just being like, hey, just so you know, I fell and yeah, I hurt my face. I'm okay. I'll probably need to go to the hospital. I'm just like, geez, all right. So I'm like, let me know when you're done and I'll pay for an Uber and get you home safely. And I'm like, do you need me to visit you there? She's like, no, I'll be fine. So that was fine. And then she's also had some other health issues where the doctor has told her, hey, like, you need to take your diabetes a little bit more seriously, right? On top of all the other health issues she has, when it's mental health and yeah, just her physical health in terms of her balance and mobility, and her getting out and walking this winter has been pretty non-existent. I'll be transparent about that. But I'm going to get her a recumbent bike because we've had a couple of issues where I've tried to get her on a walking pad and she almost fell over once. And I've tried to get her to use one of these QB things that you just sit and you can move on. And maybe we'll get her a Dr. Ho motion sizer as well. But that's one thing where her balance is off. And when she fell, it just scared me half to death as well. So that's been stressful. So her just having that. And then last week, there was just a bunch of things that happened. So start off the week where I couldn't really see that well out of it. And this one just like, okay, what's going on here, right? And I remember 6 months ago, I had the same thing. And then so I just let it drag on for a few days. And then last Thursday, I'm like, I'm going to go to an optometrist and get this checked out because I can barely see and I need to be looking at my screen and stuff, right? And fortunately, it was just floaters in my eye, nothing too serious. And he's like, yeah, you should probably get reading glasses as well because you're on your screen. You should get blue light glasses and turn down the brightness on your screen as well, because that's probably affecting your visual health as well, right? If you can't see and you're doing all this graphic design in a lot of cases, right, all these AI images, then guess what? That's going to cause you issues, right? And so I'll be getting new glasses soon as well. I've turned down the brightness and I've got a couple pairs of blue light blockers. I've returned one of them because they weren't sufficient. And then on top of this, last week, it was actually 25 years since my father passed away. So March 11th, he passed away in 2021, 6 months to the day, I believe, before 9/11. So it's been 25 years since that happened. So every time of this year, I'm always like, oh man, I remember that. Like, I've come so far, by the way, in the last 25 years without him. When I look at who I was then in terms of my self-esteem and my confidence and just who I was as a person, I have come a long way. And people always tell me this. I was on a call earlier with someone, this young dude, who, yeah, asked me for all this advice, right? And he's like, man, like, you're just such a good coach, and just your mindset and your determination with things and your resilience and your discipline. And I'm like, I'm really not that disciplined. I just told him, I'm like, bro, I'm kind of retarded, to be honest. I just retard max through everything I need to do. When there's something I need to do, I just do it. I don't overthink it. I just go, this needs to get done, do it, sort of thing, right? Take all your emotions, take all your procrastination out of it, just get her done, sort of thing. So that was another thing I wanted to mention as well, was the eye issues. And then, yeah, my father passing away. He's been gone for 25 years. So that was really just made it even more stressful. And on top of this, last Wednesday in our area, 3 a.m. in the morning, there's a knock on the door and the doorbell rings. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So I go to the door in my boxers, open the door. There's a police officer there. And he's like, oh, I saw you got this camera. Does it point to the street? And I'm like, no, it doesn't. Why? And he's like, oh, you'll hear about it in the news. And I'm just like, okay, so yeah. And the thing is, we only got these cameras a couple months ago because there was a porch pirate in our area that stole my Amazon order. And sure, it was only towels, just towels, not a big deal. And I order a fair amount of stuff from Amazon. But if it had been my camera equipment, one of these lenses, right, my Mac Mini, one of these more expensive things, some of the clothing that I order, when I order things in bulk as well, yeah, that would probably be not good that someone steals that stuff. So glad that I had that installed, but didn't catch anyone. But then we hear about it on the news and it's like, oh, there's a home invasion that happened right around the corner from us, right? Where this guy, 5 people broke into his house and assaulted him and shot him. And I'm pretty sure the other day I was walking down the street and saw the guy because I see this dude with a black eye, and I think they might have shot him in the foot because it looked like his leg was injured and it looked like had a bullet wound in his leg. Maybe it wasn't the guy, but I'm pretty sure, I'm like 95% sure that was the guy. And I've seen him taking down his Christmas lights even then about a month or so ago. So I'm pretty sure this was him. So I didn't really sleep that night or the next night after that, right? So very sleep deprived. And then someone I work with is like, hey man, you got to do this webinar deck. Like, usually I have a couple of weeks notice, but he's like, oh yeah, let's have a webinar. And we finished doing the courses. Like, let's have a webinar this Sunday. So I'm like, oh man, like, you want me to do this on a Sunday? And I had something planned that day. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess I need to cancel that. So let the person know, hey, like a friend of mine being like, hey, sorry, I know we had this plan, but gotta have this webinar. And so it was all this pressure that just mounted with me. And normally those are the times when I would just break down and I'm sure I would, you know, smoke weed. But I didn't even think about it. Like it was the furthest thing away from my mind, which is crazy. And when I first quit, like those first couple of weeks are so hard, right? The first night, not the big a deal, right? I can fall asleep pretty easily, but there's those nights where you just have insomnia, where it's very difficult to sleep because apparently your brain is recalibrating and your brain naturally produces endocannabinoids, I believe they're called, and when you're smoking, it just that replaces those, so your brain forgets how to do those, right? So you'll have those days where it's hard to sleep and you won't feel as happy and as motivated because you don't have that in your system. So with this though, just all of those things leading up to that Sunday, I was just so stressed, right? And then Sunday night, I had an argument with one of my friends where everything was great, and then just at the end of the night, for whatever reason, we have this argument, and it just basically made me not sleep as much that night, and just all these little things where I'm just like, I woke up on Sunday and I had to finish this deck, and then I'm trying to use this new AI tool called Manus, and it wasn't giving me what I wanted, right? It's supposed to automatically produce all the PowerPoint presentation, right? And previously I'm very good at creating PowerPoint presentations, specifically Google Slides, and those would take a long time. And so I moved from Canva, did it there, and then moved to Gamma, and Gamma saved me a lot of time. And then this one, for whatever reason, coworkers like, oh, you know what, like try Claude and Manus together, right? So I tried to do that, and it was just a disaster Saturday and Sunday. And then luckily by about 2:30, 3 o'clock, I was able to finally have that presentation done, right? And just before I'm supposed to go live in front of, I think it was 150 people approximately showed up for that, right? I just had this moment where I just let go, where I was just went for a walk and I'm like, whatever happens, happens, man. Like, it's been a long week. Just, you worked your buns off. You've been good for this part of the year. And then, yeah, whatever happens, happens, right? But again, that was something where in the past I might have been like, oh, like under all this stress. Like, it's time to just, puff some ganj, basically, right? Just you deserve to reward yourself like that. But this time it's like, no, the reward for more work or for good work is more work. So that's something that I really just wanted to get off of my head as well. And then there's just been other things as well, like just taxes always sucks every single year. I just hate doing the taxes, to be honest, right? It's something where I need to do that by the end of next month, so I'm planning to do that. My cousin has a wedding this weekend. Shout out to all my cousins because I know you guys watch my videos and I appreciate the support with these, by the way. And yeah, my aunt watches these and some other friends watch these as well, so I appreciate all your support, which just keeps me doing these. So this video will be a little bit different for them, and I'm sure they're like, wow, I didn't realize this guy goes through all these little things as well. And so I've had very high output, but yeah, the taxes has been one thing as well. And then editing videos too. Editing videos sucks. That's one thing too, where we have an editor and he went away last week, so I had to edit all these videos for myself for Instagram and YouTube, where it took a lot out of me. I've been dealing with CapCut and it sucks. The last YouTube video I put on this channel was 44 minutes long. 44.4 minutes long specifically, because that number has just been angel number apparently. I don't know what it is, just being shown to me all the time. I just see this number everywhere, just shoved down my throat, and sure enough, as I say this, and Cardinal goes by. So CapCut, whether it's the desktop version or the browser version, both of them suck. I'm probably going to just pivot over to DaVinci Resolve or Adobe Premiere or some other thing, because CapCut is just, it's not it. It's not the gas, as they say. So, but yeah, the webinar, I'll talk about that in a moment, but the taxes have stressed me out. And then on top of all this, politically, Canada, I would say, is in the worst spot politically and economically that it's ever been in my entire life, where my trust for the Liberal government, a party I used to campaign for the Liberal Party to get them elected, believe this or not. When Trudeau ran in 2015, I went out and canvassed for him to win. Even though I was working a full-time job, I went out, I'm like, this guy's going to be awesome. He's going to legalize weed, right? And legalization just made our country worse, right? Because now everyone's like, well, I know our economy sucks and we're losing free speech and we're losing our freedoms, but you know what? At least we can smoke weed, right? At least we can smoke weed. Which is so ridiculous, right? So, and funny enough, the Liberals last week, they got one seat closer. I believe they have 170 seats, so they can, when they win the next by-election, they'll have a majority, and they're just going to ruin Canada even more because they're going to run up these insane deficits. And I've never been someone where it's like, oh, buy things on debt. Like, I only buy things if I have cash for them, right? Sure, I put all my stuff on my credit card, but I pay it off basically right away because that's just the way I am. I've never been someone where it's like, oh, I want a car. Like, let me lease that car so I own it. Oh, I want a house. Like, let me get that house. I worked in a cubicle and saved up for 4 years so that when the time came for me to buy the property up north, I would have that money available on hand, ready to go. I had a TFSA. I'm like, I'm going to put this in the TFSA. When the time comes, I'll pull the trigger and I'll have the money to pay for that, right? This way, I'll have no mortgage, I'll have no interest on that. It'll just be paid for, and then I just need to pay the land tax. And that's how it happened, right? And we've had the property almost 5 years at this point, and that's the way I am. Same with my brother, same with my friend. That's just the way that I am. So the fact that the Liberal government can just spend all this money and cause massive inflation, which hurts the average person and causes taxes to just go even higher, and that we continue to fund all these programs that we don't know if they're working or not, is just absolutely ridiculous. And they're about to get a majority, so we're probably going to have them another 3 to 4 years minimum at this point, unfortunately, and deal with, I don't know, the Liberal Party used to be against corporatism and all this crony capitalism, but now they are the crony capitalists and they are the elitists, unfortunately. I didn't mean to get political, but this is really a rant video, and I'm going to get all this off my chest while I have the chance to, so bear with me while I get through this. And today, it's funny enough, Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservatives, is going to be on the Joe Rogan Experience. Now, I used to not like the Conservative Party of Canada, and then a few years back, and I believe it was 2019, I'm like, why do I not like them? Okay, like, let me see what they actually stand for, right? Okay, like, they don't seem as ridiculous as what the Liberal Party of Canada is currently pushing on people, right? And the pandemic made me hate the Liberal Party of Canada even more, not just good old JT with his great hair and smile and his what's the word that I'm looking for here? His condescending ways, right? The way that he is very, I don't know, condescending, and he's just not a good person, right? Sure, he puts off this aura that he's a good person, but I don't believe that he is a very good person, that he's helped Canadians whatsoever. He's helped himself get rich and his friends get rich, but yeah, he is not definitely the worst prime minister we ever had, right? The amount of debt he accumulated has been more than all the previous prime ministers combined. And I just see this guy Poilievre, and I'm like, look, like, what he's talking about seems just logical in this case at this point, right? The NDP party is done. Like, Jagmeet Singh just destroyed them, so they're done. Liberal Party, we're done. We have irreconcilable differences at this point. So at this point, I'm going to be voting Conservative moving forward. It just makes sense for me to do so, right? And sure, they're blue. That helps a little bit. And I think a lot of Canadians, just because our flag is red, they vote for the Liberal Party because they're red, and our media is bought and paid for by by the Liberal Party because they've bailed them out. I believe they spent $600 or $700 million bailing out of these parties, and the CBC gets like $1.4 billion every year in taxpayer money, and now they'll get even more moving forward, but that's a whole other story. So all these things combined made me very stressed last week, but I just decided, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to just let go and not let these things happening in the 3D get to me whatsoever, right? And just not let it bother me. And then so I do this webinar. It's probably some of the most fun I've ever had in my entire life was that webinar. I will look back on it and be like, man, like, that was like, I'd done one every month for the last 6-7 months, I believe, since August. I think this was the 9th one that I've done, and this one I just crushed it. And sure enough, we had our highest sales day of all time in the company on Tuesday, which was insane, on St. Patrick's Day. So yeah, and I think it's been an accumulation, all this stress, and normally I would just go back in the past to smoking, but I'm just proud that I didn't relapse and go back to all that stuff, right? I'm proud that I was just like, okay, you know, and sure enough, a lot of people are going to hate this or whatever, but I grew up as an atheist, and a few years back, I really just surrendered and, yeah, really started looking into Christianity, and it's really been my way forward, right? It's really just any time that I'm very down, it's just the main thing with me that's helped me get forward as well, right? And a lot of people are like, oh, religion's evil, it's bad, it's the worst thing in the world, and it's like, it's very simple. I just think all human beings are evil, right? I've done things that are bad in my life, right? I'm a sinner, and the only way to get absolved of your sins is to believe in Jesus Christ. So, and I have a whole testimony as well, which I can go more into the future. And then one positive thing, though, that has come out of all this is I went on a trip to Collingwood with my mother in January, and we had a great time. I remember growing up, we would always have a trip once or twice a year, like a road trip where she would drive me places. And this was my chance for the first time ever to drive her somewhere, right? Where I was in the driver's seat and she can't walk that well and it snowed every day we were there. So I had to walk her to and from the unit that we rented, right, for this timeshare. And we ate absolutely amazing food. I was able to work every single day. She was able to watch shows she hadn't watched before, have a really good time. And yeah, we were able to just have a fun time together as well while I was working. And yeah, great meals as well, great people that we met with and talked to as well. We had an issue where I got a parking ticket, but randomly this guy who was a manager of the building saw this whole thing happen and gave me a gift card, so it all evened out as well. And then sure enough, the night we get back, the day after, it snows 60 odd centimeters in Toronto, which is insane. So yeah, that was the positive thing that kept come out of this, on top of the fact that I've built up the willpower now. And yeah, I don't think I'll be smoking weed moving forward, right? I can't promise I won't relapse at any point, right, where I'll give in to temptation, but I would just love to go the rest of my days without having that, right? And at this point in my life, it really just makes me tired, right? I used to love everything about it too. I used to love everything, right? It's like, oh, it's time to smoke. Like, which of these kinds should I smoke? This one or this one, right? Okay, let's roll it up, right? And I'm very good at rolling, so I would roll one up, right? Go somewhere, usually to a park, because I don't like smoking inside. And yeah, go to a nice park, right? Just have a few moments to myself, put on some music, maybe put on a YouTube video, right? Put on a podcast, whatever it is, listen to that. But now I'm able to just walk to the park and sit there and maybe have a coffee or a sparkling water recently. And I don't know, I feel like I enjoy that better. But yeah, I think with this, I'll record another one of these videos probably on day 90 and day 100 and just to move forward. But I thought it was just very fitting that I get all this stuff off of my chest. But I was able to push through it and get through all this stuff, right? And yeah, it's always those times when it's darkest before the dawn, I think, right? Where you feel like it's like, oh, I need to give up, give up, give up. One thing that also really helped me, I wanted to mention, is I used to love Game of Thrones. Season 8, terrible, but I love Game of Thrones. This new show, though, House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon, bro. Like, oh my gosh, what a high level show, right? I like that they cast these actors you don't know. That's what I really like. I liked not knowing the actors. When I know the actors, it takes me out of suspending disbelief, right? I'm not as involved. I'm not escaping reality, right? And the VFX in the show are awesome. The dragon fights are awesome. These characters are incredible. But there was this new show they had called A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And I'd heard about it and I'm like, okay, like, am I actually going to watch this, right? I'm like, dude, like, it's Game of Thrones universe. It's written by George R. R. Martin. It's, you like House of the Dragon. Maybe I like House of the Dragon more than Game of Thrones at this point. I don't know, these first two seasons, and I can't wait for the third season. Wheel of Time, by the way, I can't talk enough about how much and how much I hate that show and how bad it is, okay? Wheel of Time, they should have never done it. Amazon, you did a terrible job remaking that show. Shame on you. They just canceled it as well for the fourth season. And I'm glad that they did because, man, I hate watch that show. I'm going to go up to the property at the end of April, and the only thing I'm watching is these Flare videos I have banked. I think I have 17 or 18 banked. Shout out to Flare, my favorite YouTube channel, outdoors, catch, clean, cook videos. Definitely some of my favorite stuff out there. This guy in Nebraska. So his videos, I'm looking forward to that. And then I'm going to watch the final season of Wheel of Time, which is not technically the final season because they canceled it. Because it's 14 books. I've read all 14 books. I may like it more than the Game of Thrones books. I don't know if I like it as much as Lord of the Rings, but it's definitely, and I prefer fantasy over space-based stuff, so I just really enjoyed this, but they did a terrible job. But I decided a couple weeks ago, I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to binge watch A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And I watched it, and this guy just like has this terrible life, right? He's this low-born peasant peon. He's from Flea Bottom, like he's a nobody, and man, he's in this final battle, right? Everything's coming up to this final battle where he's going to fight for it, right? And they're like, oh, the gods will decide, right? If you did what was right or if you did what was wrong. And sure enough, comes down to this final fight, right? And the other dude who you see this other character and you cannot loathe him enough just based on the way that he looks. Sanctimonious, by the way, was the word I was looking for, Trudeau. But this other guy as well is just very arrogant, right? And he's a highborn, right? He's from the Targaryen family, and he knocks Duncan off of his horse, and Duncan is in this, like, knocked out in this pile of mud, right? With all this mist everywhere, and it's just kind of, lowest point. It's like, oh, it's over, right? And then they show the backstory of him when he's younger, right? Duncan the Tall is the character's name, Dunk, and they show him, and yeah, he's basically with his friend, and they're like basically going through this battlefield. It looks like some war is over, and they're taking medallions and gold and basically pillaging, or pilfering rather, these people who have died, right? So they take some jewelry and stuff, and they're trying to get just 2 dragons to leave King's Landing, basically, right? The main city. And then so they go and they're like, oh, here's our 2 dragons. And the guy goes, sorry, price is doubled, right? It's 4 now. And they're like, oh, so they need to go back and work, right? And while they're doing so, this female character of his, right? Apparently they're in love, even though they're like very young characters. This other character comes and he confronts the girl because she stole his leather water thing, whatever those things are called, right? So he confronts her and she's like, oh, I just threw that away, whatever. And then he stabs and kills her. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's like this crazy scene as well, right? And it's very emotional, right? And the guy's like, no. And then this other guy, this old man, busts in and like kills the 2 guys. And then Duncan basically becomes the squire for this night, right? Sir Arthur, I forget what his name is. Or Sir Alistair, something, I can't remember what his name is, but he becomes the squire for him, right? And this guy's also very lowborn. He's a hedge knight, as they call it, right? He's not with a specific group and band of people. And then basically what ends up happening is there's this situation where he's following the old man, right? He's following him after this whole event happens, right? And then he's basically sitting there like shivering after following him, right? Trying to just follow him around because he doesn't know what else to do. And the old man goes to him and he's just like, get up, like, get up. And he gets up. And then in that moment, in that scene, Duncan also like gets up too, right? He just gets out of that moment. He gets up, like picks up his sword, goes and beats the heck out of the other guy, makes the guy surrender, and then his honor is basically restored, right? And yeah, so it's like one of my like crazy scene as well, right? The writing that goes into this, the costumes, the lighting, like they just know how to do these things well, right? So Wheel of Time, you guys should have hired all the people on the Game of Thrones stuff and for House of Dragon and for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, because man, like that show just, I don't know, they know what they're doing there, man. HBO always knows what they're doing. But it was like me, right? It was the same thing, right? Where it's like, look, like I know you feel down, I know you're knocked out right now, but it's like, dude, like you just got to get up, man. And you can't rely on the weed, you can't rely on the cannabis for all these other things, right? You have to look inside yourself, look to a higher power to, yeah, I guess give you that resilience, give you that grit, give you that determination to just keep going no matter what, right? And put yourself out there, let the chips fall where they may. So yeah, just wanted to get this video out of the way in any case. Appreciate you, yeah, I guess sticking around with me until the end and just hearing me out at this point. And I do have another couple of other videos that I have worked on recently, which I'm again going to need to record. I recorded one and I was going to put it out today, but then I decided to record this video and I'll put that out tomorrow. And then I have this wedding on the weekend where I'll be spending all my time with my family. And then I have a million other things I need to do next week as well. I need to do some work for a past client. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but I had this past client come back that I did business with a long time ago. And yeah, 4 years ago, they were my main client and asked me to do a bunch of work. So I have to do that with them. I'm just going to try and bust that out tonight. And then, yeah, this will clear up the whole day and weekend for me tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday to just be present for my family, right? Spend as much time with them as possible and then really move forward. I was hoping this video isn't too long. I don't know how long I've been ranting at this point. I was trying to make it maximum 20 minutes. It's probably been way longer at this point. But yeah, I'm glad I was able to just get this all off of my chest in one go. But yeah, I'm staying strong with this. I'm probably not going to be doing anything moving forward. Even if I think about having a drink of alcohol, because I stopped drinking beer a couple of years ago and I moved over to these sparkling water, right? Like sparkling water, whatever they're called, mainly White Claws and these other ones like Cottage Springs or something. And so those are okay, but they just make me want to smoke a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really resonate with having those. And it's for me, it would just really trigger that I would really want to smoke more. So I'm staying away from alcohol as well. And it's going to be harder, right? Because summer is way easier. In the winter, it's easier not to drink and smoke, but just in the summer, it's a nice day, right? It's like, it's a Friday, I'm just going to reward myself sort of thing. And so with me, once my whole shoulder has healed, I'm going to get more back into working out. Maybe I'll start running more. I'm going to definitely start biking a lot more. Wanted to mention too, I sold one of my bikes, the Wasabs, which I've had for, I believe, over 15 years. I think I found it in 2010 10 and sanded it down, spray painted the whole thing, put on brand new parts, rode it around for a while. It was one of my beater bikes, and some guy bought it off me the other day, and I'm glad because he repairs bikes. He was going to buy that Blue Giant, which I said in the last video I was finally going to get rid of, but he came by and he's like, I can only take one bike right now. I'll let you know if I want this one in the future. And I'm like, okay. So hopefully he buys that one, and then there's this Trek that I want to get rid of, and then that will make me have, I think, only 6 bikes left. And I have bought an insane amount of stuff for going up north this year. Like when people see in one of my future videos the amount of stuff that I've got just this winter for going up north, because that's what I spend my money on. When I get money, I reinvest it in myself and in the business and in getting more skills, and then I get it for stuff up north. Like it just makes more sense. And yeah, in a lot of cases it is business related expenses, so maybe I can write them off on the business. We'll see that, and we'll talk to a tax expert on that. But yeah, just wanted to catch up here and let people know how I've been. I know this video is different from anything that's been on this channel. And then, yeah, I do have my AI channel, which I don't talk too much about as well, that I've really been building, and it seems to be growing faster than this channel and will pass subscribers very soon. But yeah, just wanted to get this video out of the way and really appreciate you watching and listening to my rants all the way up to this point. And I will probably bring out more videos in the future for this, because it did feel like therapy for me getting all this stuff off of my chest, and I do feel a lot better and yeah, just a lot more rejuvenated, I would say, after watching this as well. Smug was the other word, by the way, I wanted to use to describe Trudeau. But yeah, I don't think he's conspiracy guys would say, oh, Trudeau, he's evil and he has all these things. I just think he's a dumbass, straight up. Carney, I think he's an elitist, and I think he might be part of these secret societies and stuff. But Trudeau, he's just an idiot. It's that simple. So, but yeah, enough about him. If he legalized weed and you like him for that, great. Like, by all means, totally understand you can like that, but I don't think he's been good for Canada, and I don't think that him legalizing weed really helped me out, because it made it so easily accessible for me to just smoke whenever I want. So the fact that I've been able to not do so, and yeah, it's really helped me as well. But yeah, sleep has been off because of that, because of quitting, which is absolutely normal. And then it's so easy to get at this point. You can get so much of it. And even then, I got tired of rolling. I just moved to pre-rolls last year, where I was going through pre-rolls, just getting like a 10 pack, and basically just when I would work for the whole day, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, let's just get this done, right? Let's just smoke a couple of these things and get out of the way and relax. But I don't know, man. I don't think I can ever go back to smoking, to be honest. I just feel at this point where I'm in a lot of momentum, and I really want to keep going, and I'm building something as well. Starting YouTube is hard, man. With these people who burn out, I understand why they go out. When you have a week like I had last week, no wonder, man. And I think a lot of it too is I found content that I've resonated with, and these videos just find you at the right time, don't they? When you need to hear something from someone else. Like even the other day, I'm scrolling through my feed, it's day 72, and this video comes up like day 72 of without weed, and I'm like, play, like let me watch this sort of thing, right? And again, the guy's talking about building a personal brand, which I'm already doing, and he's like, you just need to put yourself out there and be a little bit more vulnerable, right? People will understand you. And one thing I've realized too, and even Claude, my AI assistant, told me this, it's like AI can never replace that vulnerability for your personal brand, right? If you're a genuine person and you're putting yourself out there and your opinions out there, some people, they're going to hate you, and it's because it's going to be polarizing, right? They're going to disagree with you. They're going to hate you no matter what, right? But there's a lot of people out there it's going to resonate with, and those are really the people that you want in your life as well, right? You're going to turn off those people, but you can't care what they think. Even my friend that I met with last week, we used to work together, and she was telling me this. We got on the call, and at the end, she was just so direct. She's like, Maddie, like, you can't care what other people think, right? And she said it in a more verbose, and she used profanity to describe that, which I don't want to do in my videos, because I want to be able to articulate my ideas without having to swear and curse. But yeah, she told me this in such a direct way, and it's like, okay, if you're saying it like this, like it's absolutely true, right? And my book that I want to write, the book that I want to write is called The Attractive Character. It deals with building a personal brand. It deals with what I do, which is building AI influencers at this point, and AI models and AI girls and AI 304s, as I call them. And yeah, that's the book that I want to write. And this is where AI could never be truly the attractive character, right? It could never take that from a person. Sure, you can create an AI avatar and an AI version, an AI clone of yourself, fair enough, but I don't know, man, videos like this where it's just very raw and you just put your ideas out there and you just talk and you just have a couple of ideas written down and you just go freestyle. Like, I don't know if AI can do that, man. It would be hard for it to replicate that and know real time what's happening in the world and share that perspective with people and be as vulnerable. But really appreciate you listening to this point. I'm just gonna release this video out there, no hard edits, and we'll put this out there. And yeah, have yourself a good one. If you did enjoy this video, leave me a comment, you know the deal. Like the video, consider subscribing to the channel, and yeah, I will be coming out with more videos like this and more off-grid stuff in the future on this channel. But yeah, really appreciate and I'm grateful if you stayed watching this video to this point. And yeah, I will catch you in the next one soon. Have a good one.